Hello, my friends. Happy Monday. Look, it is coming in hot, right? Like we are almost to the start of our in-person portion of this journey. And yet you guys have been on this journey for growth since you signed up for Bold. And I just want to commend you. And I'm so happy to be on it with you. We're going to talk today about what I believe, what's my most favorite thing to talk about, or one of my most favorite things to talk about. And God, it didn't used to be. So if it's not one of your favorite things to talk about, then I invite you to listen with different ears today. Something, just get ready, like something you'll hear me say many times is that, the road to more, which you're all here. All of you are looking for more. You wouldn't have watched this video. You wouldn't have signed up for Bold if you weren't looking for more. Whether it's more money, more wealth, more production, more leverage, more balance in your time, more relationships. You came here and you're here now because you're looking for more. And the road to more is completely paved with different. We've got to be willing to think different and therefore do different. So if you don't like this topic, take a step back, take a breath, and just roll with me. Like you can pause this at any time and give yourself a little, okay, I'm changing my mindset, right? So we last time we spoke about how to stick to a time block. And yet if we don't know how to time block, then there's nothing to stick to. So today we're talking about time blocking. For lack of a better term, because I mean, time blocking is really just taking control of your life. Now, here's the interesting thing, right? If you don't have control over your time and the actions that you take and when you take them, and the rest of the universe does. And it's not a fun life. It's a very stressful life. It's a very hard to predict life. And there's one thing to like to live an exciting life, and then there's another thing to be stressed out all the time. All right. And when you time block, you buy yourself a lot of freedom. And that's the first thing that I want to make sure y'all understand, because I think there's this resistance to following a schedule as an independent contractor, as a real estate professional, because a lot of us got into this business because we wanted freedom and flexibility. And that's great. That's why I got in too. The problem is that we also wanted wealth, and we normally won't get to it. I mean, think of most real estate agents, they don't have wealth because they're hyper focused on the freedom and the flexibility and the old them's version of what freedom and flexibility is. So yes, technically, do you have freedom if you decide when you work and what you do and all that stuff? Yes. And yet, if you have no money, the decisions of the other things that you do are very easy because there's nothing. There's very little that you can do that's going to bring you any type of fulfillment or enjoyment that takes no money on any level, right? So by being disciplined with our schedule, by time blocking fiercely and sticking to it, like we talked about last week, we're buying the freedom that we wanted all along. The freedom is just different because to me, freedom, this is what freedom looks like. Freedom looks like my friend, whoever says, hey, I've got my Airbnb. It's been going great for me. And yet I've had some financial changes. So I've got to sell it. And I'm just reaching out to the investors that I know and saying, ooh, yeah, I want it, and knowing that the money is there to fund it. Freedom is scheduling time off and not taking a junkie trip, taking a great trip. Freedom is bigger than most of us defined it when we got our real estate license, and flexibility too. I'm 42 years old, and my goal that I'm very very focused on right now is to by 45 is to be financially independent, to have hit that freedom number. So my fierce dedication to time blocking now buys me all of the freedom and the flexibility that I've ever wanted in my life by 45. Now, I won't actually retire. I don't know what I would do with myself. And yet I'll be able to wake up every single day knowing that whatever I choose to do for work today, I do because it fulfills me, because I do not have any reason to do it otherwise. So we've got to be okay with the idea of time blocking. We've got to understand that it really gets us freedom. Now, the number one thing that I see derail people's time block, because it's not that hard to actually write out a schedule, right? Like that's not brain surgery. we time block too much. So I want to encourage you guys to not do that. Like if you've got every minute of your day planned down to the minute you're going to go to the bathroom, like that's too much. And you leave no room for life to happen, as it will, no matter how much you plan. So, and this is something that we'll talk about in bold. So I know I told you I wasn't going to do a lot of regurgitation, and yet this next thing I'm going to share with you is foundational, and then I'll kind of go off of it a little bit. There are really only three things that matter within your time block at a deep, deep level, right? And so those three things are you time block your time off. That should be the first thing you do every year as you plan your year. And if you haven't done that for 2023 yet, it's freaking January 9th. Do it now. You don't know where you're going to go. You don't know who you're going to go with. I don't care. Maybe you're going to stay home. You're going to time block your time off. Now, you can choose to have a system or you can just choose to do whatever, and yet you're going to time block it. We'll talk about that in a minute. The second thing that you're going to make sure you time block is your lead generation time. I don't care if you're actively selling or you've gone seventh level. Your job is to lead generate. My job as a bold coach is to lead generate. If I don't have agents in the room, then my travel does no good for me, right? So your job, your number one job within your business is always going to be lead generation, because lead generation fixes all things. Deals go sideways and don't close. Well, if you're lead generating at a high level, you've got another one to slot right back in there. Like lead generation fixes all things. And then the third thing you would time block is your planning time, and that should be weekly. A dedicated time every week. I strongly suggest that you do it on a Sunday, and I don't work weekends. I don't consider that part work. That's bigger than work. That's life, where you look at where you are in relation to your goals, both business and personal. If they're good, great. Do we raise the goal, or are we just going to stay comfortable? No right or wrong. If they're not where we need them to be, what are we going to do this week to adjust and fix? So that's one side of the planning. The other side of the planning is just life. Because if you're going to plan a year in advance, which you all should be doing, you truly should, right? Just accept it. If we're going to plan a year in advance, life is going to come up. If you're like me and you have children, lots of them, so and so has a volleyball game and they signed up for this sport, and I've got a doctor's appointment. I'm going to have to look at my week coming up, and I had planned for it. Some things happen that I need to do. So now I just move things around. Because one of the foundational laws with time blocking is if you erase, you must replace. So there will be times where you may have to move some things that are sacred on your schedule. That doesn't mean they don't happen. You simply move them to another time. So that's one of your other keys to success. If you're going to be an effective time blocker, you've got to be willing to stand strong and stay committed to it, and know that every once in a while things are going to happen where you will have to adjust. And that's exactly what you do. You adjust. You don't just say, well, today I don't lead generate, or no, I got to cancel that trip. You don't do that. You just move things. All right. Now going back to the time off, because that's my favorite part. Like, I'm proud to tell you, I don't like working all the time. I have no, I don't like not working at all. That's not attractive to me. And yet 40 hours a week is honestly more than I want to do. And so I'm very excited about time off. And there's a system out there, and it's from the book 12-Week Year, by the way, so I don't want to be plagiarizing. I think it's really, really powerful. And I know a lot of people that follow it. I don't follow it to a T. That my schedule is bold makes it a little weird to do so. And I follow kind of a loose version of it, where it is basically that you are going to take a 3-day, well, you're going to take a day off every week. Like, that's non-negotiable. Like, I take 2 off. You need to take at least 1 off. You're not a robot. Like, you will burn out at some point. So you're going to take a dedicated day off every week. Same deal. If it moves every once in a while, that's fine. That means you're taking another day off, because you are a human and you need rest and you need to recharge. Most of you don't let your phone go below 80% without plugging it in, right? So we've got to take care of ourselves, right? So it would be a day off. Every month you take a long weekend. You take 3 days, whether you just stay home or whether you go on a trip, or maybe it's staycation because you're only 3 days. Either way, you have a 3-day weekend. And then quarterly, you take a week off. That's 4 whole weeks off a year. And I can guarantee that for most of you, that is more than you're used to taking off. Now, here's the funny thing. If we're to really be honest and look at our time, you could look at 2022, for example. I bet we took a lot more than 4 weeks off, because we had this day where we didn't really do anything, and this day where we returned some emails and we didn't really lead generate. So again, you can take a lot of time off if you are purposeful with how you spend your time when you are on. I've known so many agents that run massive businesses larger than mine that work 20, 30 hours a week, and that's just what they do. But when they are working, like, you couldn't distract them if the building was on fire. Like, they are laser focused because they know what that focus is buying them. So that's time blocking. And I want to encourage you, as we look at Bold, to really, really embrace it. And in fact, there's something you can do within Bold for that. Don't be rolling into class 10 seconds before it starts, or heaven forbid late. You paid a lot of money to be there. You came because you're looking for change. So I would time block 15 minutes before every class to know that I'm just not going to be rushed. Same thing. I'm going to save myself 15 minutes at the end of the day. Like, if we're out at 2:30 and you've got an appointment that's a half hour away, it's not going to be at 3 o'clock. That's too stressful. Make it for 3:15, for 3:30. Set yourself up for success. We're not as effective when we're constantly panting like a dog that just got off of a run. Like, we have to build in some cushion. And then within those basics that I shared, there's so many other things that you can do that will help you move forward. So, I mean, gosh, one of the things for me is that I have 2 dedicated time slots a day for stuff. Because, right, like, doesn't stuff happen every day? Sometimes it might be follow up. Sometimes it might be there's an issue on an appraisal for one of your deals. Like, so I have 2 times a day. One is right around lunch, and one is towards the end of the day, where I'm just going to look at what's happening and address any issues that have come up. Because what'll stop you from sticking to your time block is that feeling of needing to address things the minute that they happen. And there are very few things, like, I don't know, like 99% of things that come up in your business, while they may feel urgent, are not so urgent that you can't stay where you are, finish the work that matters, and then go handle them. So I want to challenge you on time blocking. A lot of people tell me, oh, I'm just not good at it. Well, that's an affirmation. We're not going to do that anymore. You, yeah, you are a time blocking machine. You're effective at setting your time block, and you are amazing at sticking to your time block. If you're a listing agent or a buyer, if you are a producing agent, with most of you are, you might want to have an appointment in your calendar every single day. And of course, you can use it to fill an appointment slot. When you have a listing appointment, that standing appointment at 3 o'clock every day, whatever it is, you plug it in there. That's a great idea. Okay, what happens when you don't have a listing appointment or a buyer consultation? Well, maybe that's time that you either choose to lead generate for that hour, or maybe you choose to practice your presentation for that hour, because you are going to work all in when you're working, and you're going to be off all the way when you're off. That's why you got your license. You wanted to go live the life that most people never have the opportunity to live. And in order to do that, we're going to have to do things that other people are not willing to do, like time blocking and sticking to it. If you had a paid job, you'd be doing it just fine. You're ready to pay yourself lots and lots of money, lots and lots of wealth, provide lots and lots of beautiful things and experiences and opportunities for your family, simply because you listened to what your phone told you in your little appointment thing. All right. So I trust that you will look at time blocking differently. I trust that you will remember foundationally that the time blocking and sticking to it, that dedication and focus, actually brings you the freedom and the flexibility that you truly desired. We just didn't see it that way at the beginning. All right. So I appreciate you. I'm so excited to see you in person soon, and have an amazing, productive, time blocked week. And when you have time blocked to be off, you put that phone down and you go be with yourself and be with your family and go have fun and do what you want. You deserve it. Have a great day.